This is Geometry Semester 2. It's the 6th unit, surface area, and it's the first lesson within that unit number 6. It's lesson number 1, which is surface area of square and rectangular prisms and slants practice. And that means like slant or oblique prisms is what that means. It's on creatormath.com or creatormath.weebly.com under the Geometry tab. The instructions are copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages. And I may bring up the notes as part of this video, so I'll just show you where those are again, and I hope you know where they are on the table of contents. Again, it's creatormath.weebly.com under the Geometry tab. So here's the first question. What is the surface area of the cube? And so surface area is all of this area. So there's area out here on this surface. There's area out here on the top surface. There's area on the face surface. There's area underneath it, like if you're looking under the three-dimensional shape, there's an area of that surface. There's an area on this side. How many sides you got? You got 1, 2, you got the back, 3 on this side, 4 on the face, 5 on the top, and 6. This has 6 faces, right? And now I am tempted to go ahead and I'm going to use multiple devices here. I'm going to, on my phone, I can put this in here, right? And just to back up a little bit, home. This is creatormath.com or creatormath.weebly.com. And if you type it into Google with no spaces, creatormath.weebly.com, it should come up. All right, and if it does, we're going to go to the Geometry tab. We're going to find this lesson, so scroll down to the table of contents. So right here it says Semester 2, Table of Contents. This goes on pages 2 through 6 of your comp book, as long as it's still Semester 2 right now. Just follow that advice. This is trig. We're not in trig. This is special right triangles. This is volume. This is probability, circles and arcs. Here we are, surface area. And we're on the first one, surface area of square and rectangular. Here's the notes that go in your comp book on page 109, 110. Click on this. And it'll bring up a picture of the board almost like you were still sitting in class. Sometimes it's just my notes like a piece of paper. Come on. And it needs to load a little. I don't know if you can see the resolution. It's not loading right now for me. But it'll load, if I let it sit here a bit, it'll load to a higher resolution. And it's going to explain to me. All right, it's not loading for me. This is exact illustration of what you go through too, by the way. So you're going to take your time and work through it. All right, let's see if we can do what is the surface area of the cube? So because we know there's 6 sides to this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're doing surface area right here, and it's a cube. We know that this side length is S long. Okay, that stands for side length, S. And because we have an S times S to define this first square, so we pick one face. It's S here, S there. We know it's length times width to get area. Area equals length times width. So area equals S times S, because each one is S. And so area equals S squared. Because there's 6 of these, I believe we're just going to say surface area of a cube equals 6 times S squared. Right? So, and here it explains it. This is the answer right here. Side length S is S times S, or S squared per side, or, and that might say per face, I might say, but side of the shape, right? I might like to say per face there, or S squared times 6 sides, or 6 S squared. So this whole thing is your answer. And this is the first lesson, so they're just going to, run through all the different formulas for surface area, which is the same thing that would pull up on my notes if it would pull up. I wonder if I can refresh it somehow. Let's go. One more time. Go on. Ah, there it is. So I just redid it, you guys. That's all I did. I didn't do anything special. But it's talking to you about surface area, talking about 3 dimensions. This is the stuff you're copying into your comp book on the right pages. Here it is going over a prism. Rectangular prism, it's going through the vocabulary cube, giving you a few practice problems to put into your comp book. And talking about surface area, 6s squared. I see it right there, right in the notes. So anyway, that'll explain a little bit more of what we're talking about in these practice problems. What's the surface area of a rectangular prism? Rectangular prism is length times width times height will give you volume, right? But we want surface area. So we have a shape here, a rectangle, and the area of that rectangle is length times height, right? So how many of these do we have? We have 1, 2. We have the front and the back. We also have, so that would be L, H. We have 2 of those, right? So 2, L, H. That's part of it. We also have a top. A top is also a rectangle, but it's length by width. Those are the 2 dimensions of that piece. So we're also going to have 2 of them that are length times width because there's a top and there's a bottom. Then we have these end squares. The squares are, and they could be rectangles too, by the way, but they are a height and they are width. So their 2 dimensions are width times height. And there's 2. There's 1 here, 1 there, so 2 of those. So we're going to also add to this. Do I still have room? Move this over. We're going to also add 2 WH. This will give us the surface area of this rectangular prism. So we have surface area equals 2LW, right here, plus 2LH, right here, and, oh, I did it backwards. LW's here, that's this one, check, and LH is here, check, and WH is here. Okay, check. That's going to give us the surface area of a rectangular prism. Now we need the surface area of a oblique. Oblique, other, you could say slanted, right? The shape is being slanted over. I said it when I was in high school. I'm like, oh, oblique, right? No, it's oblique. And I learned that eventually. It was all right. The interesting thing is that when we slant a shape, we're not just taking the shape and just slanting it. No. The top, also called a base, and the bottom, also called a base, they remain parallel. I don't know if you can think of the top and this, they slide over this way, but they remain parallel to where they were before. So this line here and this line here are parallel to each other. So the interesting thing about this shape is, let's deal with, how about the squares or the shapes on top and bottom, right? That would be 2 dimensions, L times W. You have 2 of those, 1 here, 1 here. So we know we have a 2, and looks like I said LW. I got 2 of those. All right, that's going to be top and bottom. Now I have a face here and a back on that. The way to calculate that is L times perpendicular height. So there's 2 of those, a front and a back, 2 times L times, and I probably would be better saying perpendicular height here, perpendicular height, H-E-I-G-H-T if I can spell that. But I might have just dropped in H because it is defined as perpendicular. See the 90-degree angle between this dimension. Right? Plus, we've got 1 on this side, and if you can imagine looking right at it, it looks exactly like a rectangle because it is, even though it's slanting toward us. Like if we were looking in this direction here, it's slanting toward us, but we're not going to see any difference. It's going to look just like a rectangle, and it's going to be defined again by this perpendicular height. So it's going to be width by height. So we're going to have plus 2 times WH. And so hence surface area even of an oblique rectangular prism is 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH, just what we defined here. The interesting thing, as long as your H is perpendicular height, it's the exact same way we found the surface area of a non-oblique rectangular prism, the prior one. And so we're going to repeat the same process again here. You've got 6 sides, and 2 match up, like there's the face and the back, right? They're L times H, so 2 LH. There's sides from here. That's WH plus 2 WH. And there's this top and bottom, L times W, right? Plus 2 L times W. Why 2? Because there's a top and a bottom, right? 6 sides total, 2, 4, 6, and we're going to run through all these dimensions you could tell us any numbers for these. You can give us a number for L, number for W, number for H. We're going to get the surface area every time. So keep in mind, surface area is the area on the outside of the shape, right? The area of this surface, the area of this surface, the area of all the surfaces combined, 2LW plus 2LH. Again, we've already done that now. This is our third time doing it. Let's see what they ask us back here. Oh, that's it. So this is really just quizzing us for surface area. It's starting to get us used to square and rectangular prisms. And slants, yeah, oblique is the proper term, you guys. So I'm not sure why I put the slang into the title. But match up the title on creatormath.weebly.com and match up this exact lesson name.